So there's a lot of excitement last week. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, issued an executive order to stop the debanking of people from banks. That is, the banks would cancel their accounts because of who they were or the activity they're engaged in. This is something that Donald Trump had occur to him. And I know a lot of people who have been debanked. We call it debanking because the bank just decided, we're done with you as a client, you're gone. I had a client who had $5 million in a Citibank account, and he transferred $1 million from Coinbase into the Citibank account. Citibank had a policy at the time that they don't handle any transfers involving cryptocurrencies. They rejected the transfer, right? But they didn't stop right there. They then debanked him. They closed his bank account and they mailed him a check. Get that, a check for $5 million. And with no thank yous. It's been great knowing you. No, you're just gone. Goodbye, sayonara. Here's your check. Can you imagine a check for $5 million floating in the mail? I mean, this is what they're doing. So the president is against debanking. Him and his sons had gotten debanked. I read the executive order, and what this does is it prevents banks from taking the option of closing your account, but it doesn't fix all the problems that are there. They're prevented from closing your account if you're a political person. They have to be apolitical in making that decision, and they cannot do it as a way of punishment for people doing activities they didn't like. They have to be very objective. Well, the problem is they can still close your account if they think that you're engaged in illegal activities. And the FinCEN, the Financial Crime Enforcement Network, which is an agency of the US government that centralizes the anti-money laundering enforcement, they came out with a regulation requiring banks to treat all cryptocurrency related transactions with the highest level of due diligence. That is to say, you're at high risk, banks, if you accept one of these transfers when you shouldn't have. Penalties, possibly imprisonment for people who do that. In order to really fix the problem, we have to go farther. We have to push into the FinCEN and say, no, you can't just automatically treat this as a high risk. Here's the problem for a bank. So they have to do enhanced due diligence to receive this transfer in from Coinbase. And enhanced due diligence, on average, is going to take around 6 hours of time. They have to document things, they have to research things, all sorts of background information about a person. They have to do this regularly. Well, it's the cost of that which is a motivating reason for banks to debank someone, because they don't want to incur the cost. They just say, hey, we're done with you. You're turning into being someone who's too expensive for us to keep as an account. So this is a key problem. FinCEN is responding to international money laundering regulations from the FATF, which is part of the IMF, which is coordinating all countries to treat cryptocurrencies at a high risk level. You want to know the single largest form of anti-money laundering activity? It's done with cash. It's done with cash, not cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies, you can trace everything. You can find people who do stuff. Cash is far more fluid. So it's irrational and it's presuming negative activity. And if the US government is committed to breaking down the barriers that prevent cryptocurrency from being used throughout all aspects of the economy, they need to address FinCEN. And they need to be able to take FinCEN, lower that risk level, and then go back to the FATF and give them a one-finger wave and tell them, we're not enforcing that, and you're not going to make us do it. We think this is abusive. So this is, I think, what needs to happen.